My name is Bhamy Venkataramana Shenoy, but most of my friends do not know my real name. They call me by Bhamy. But I was not all that popular to have any nickname like some of my friends as Ghost or G2, G1. I was neither a genius or a ghost. And I belong to 1960 batch of mechanical engineering. The best moment that I hear of, I can recall of my IIT days is when I went to AC College of Technology to spend some time in that one room little library. I came across a book by Swami Vivekananda and stood up there and read it for 2 hours. I couldn't believe it, that it was so engrossing. And I really loved it. But before that, coming to IIT, let me see where I came from. I was kind of a village bumpkin. I am from a small village, a coastal town of Mangalore, and I went to a kind of a government school, studied in Kannada. And when I finished SSLC and went to do my pre-university at St. Aloysius College in Mangalore, I was terrified because all of a sudden from Canaries, I had to switch over to English. And when I took the exam, I decided that it was too much. I will not even take the exam. But to my surprise, I got 9th rank, and I didn't even know what was a rank. So, but that helped me to get into IIT. So I have written an article from rural village to global village via IIT. And at IIT, it was again traumatic experience. Out of 120 students, there were only 4 from Karnataka. And, but none of them wanted to speak Kannada, because one of them Karnataka, but he was not familiar with Kannada. Another one was from my own district, but he also didn't want to speak Kannada. So I couldn't speak with anybody. So I wrote to my father, I'm coming back. I don't want to stay at IIT. But he has finished only 8th grade. He said, no, you better stick there. Anyway, so I continued. And I finished. And after finishing IIT, I didn't even know where the US was, but Germany I knew a little bit because of the German professors. So I was planning to go to Germany, but didn't work out. I went to the US. There also, I didn't know which university. Some of my friends went to Stanford. I didn't know that Stanford is a well-known university. I went to another place called IIT, Chicago, Illinois Institute of Technology. So from IIT Madras to IIT Chicago, over there, but for one person, all were from India. I said, oh, why should I come to the US? All were Indians over there. And to add to that, one head of the department was also like Indian. He was a Pakistani. So that was fun. But I decided, but somehow or other, I finished in 12 months. But when I went, I always wanted to come back to India and fight for India's development. Then by mere luck, I got a job. It was very difficult. At that time, IIT was not well known. This was 1966. And I got a job in a village called as Ponca City. Even the US people don't know where is Ponca City. It is near Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Oklahoma City. But so spent 2 years, but always I wanted to come back to India. So I was always in a hurry and kind of putting pressure on the management that they should transfer me. So then I managed to go to Houston, big city, the oil capital of the world. There also I was forcing them, and then they sent me to their headquarters. At the headquarters, they sent me to London for 6 months. And when I came back, hey, living as an expatriate is good. So they sent me to Italy. And then from Italy, I was exposing corruption in the company there. So they found it inconvenient. So they transferred me to Ireland. In Ireland, the managing director was illiterate, but he was promoted there because our company had bought his subsidiaries in illiterate in the sense that he was not like a typical manager. He was an entrepreneur. And he didn't even give me an office because he didn't believe in professionals like me. So I used to sit in one small corner, but finally he realized the value of it. But by that time, I decided to come back to US and come back to India. So then when I went back to Houston, a friend of mine, he became the chairman of Conoco. So he took me over the wing, and then my career flourished. So the day didn't come. So I always wanted to have 1 lakh rupee and come back. So this 1 lakh was growing up to 1 crore. So, and then afterwards, about 10 years, I was going up. They sent me a charm school. And if you send me a charm school, that means you will retire as achieve some executive. But then I said, no, it's too much. Then I returned in 1987 to fight with the one objective of fighting corruption. I contested the election twice, managed to lose my deposit, but I made some impression. So this was much before Arvind Kejriwal, another IITian. And then, but I started to expose corruption in kerosene. During that time, our house was stoned, and my wife used to get frightened because our children's, their safety was important. And then I started to expose corruption in building of a park. Then I got murder threat. But anyway, so continued over there. Then after few years over here, I went again to the US. Then I started to work as a USAID. So went to a nice place called as Georgia. Over there, I found that they are even more corrupt than India, if you can believe it. And this was a communist country, and we used to have all high opinion of communism. There I had first-hand information on what communism was. It was very corrupt. Then I got interested to fight corruption there. I met a young chap, Georgian, and both of us started fighting corruption. And when I wrote a letter to USAID saying this is very corrupt, they thought I was telling USAID office is corrupt. Then they told my company, this guy is dangerous, you fire him. So they fired me. And then the US ambassador, he came to know the kind of fighting I was doing. And then he said, look, I will get you back. He sent me a complimentary letter. You have done wonderful thing for the country, come back. I said, no, I don't want to join the company, but I will come back, but without pay. So I started to fight corruption over there. And at that time, the person against whom I was trying to expose was the future son-in-law of the president of Georgia, Shevardnadze. But anyway, we were still fighting. My young friend, his name is Vaniko Nakaitse, very dynamic guy. And he was also a member of the Chamber of Commerce there. And then came the Rose Revolution. Shevardnadze was thrown out, and another person became the president. And they brought me as the member of the board of a national oil company. And there again, we started to fight corruption. So it was very fun there. So I worked there in Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. There I wrote about how the president himself is corrupt, an article in Oil and Gas Journal. Then I did not realize that anybody will read it. Then I got a threatening letter from the office of the president. So I knew if I go to Turkmenistan, I will be behind bars. Kazakhstan also I saw, and I was writing about the corruption there. So Uzbekistan was another place, but I didn't have a chance much to expose corruption there. So I worked for USAID there, and in Indonesia, another corrupt place. Oil means corruption. So Mexico, I could not believe it, the company. It was impossible. I could not figure out how a company can be that corrupt, totally corrupt company, Pemex. And then went to Venezuela, that was another corrupt company. So I have worked in all these things. Then when I came, I thought I will help our country to fight corruption, but didn't succeed at all. And now, I mean, as I told that I was trying to expose corruption in public distribution system of kerosene, and I wrote many articles saying that this is the mother of all corruption. 25,000 crores per year was the amount of black money generated there, and another same amount black money generated in LPG. And 50,000, it was very difficult to get the articles published unless and otherwise you know somebody. Anyway, so, but now it has come down only because we have now direct benefit transfer scheme through the computer and Aadhaar. So Aadhaar has really helped. And when Aadhaar was getting introduced, it may be a surprise to many, there were very, very few people who were supporting the concept of Aadhaar. It is affecting privacy and all that. I was one of the very few who wrote long articles giving the benefits of how Aadhaar will help. And this is because when I was fighting kerosene corruption, I was suggesting we should have some scheme like Aadhaar. So when Aadhaar came, you can imagine how happy I was. So that is how I fought the corruption, and now it is over. And again, I am now involved in fighting corruption. Right now, I am trying to expose the corruption in land grabbing, which was started by one deputy commissioner. And because she was going to expose corruption, they found somehow or other getting a transfer. So we are trying to see how we can take public interest litigation. So it has been, and this is all because of the values I got at IIT. The many things that I learned at IIT during my college days. One important thing I learned was whatever you do it with excellence. And even more important, you cannot afford to commit even one mistake. This I owe it to Dr. Shear. He used to tell, when you build a bridge, you cannot say you are right 99% of the time, because that 1% is the one which can collapse the bridge and many people will die. So as an engineer, you just cannot say I'm approximately right. So you have to be perfect. And this is exactly what happens when I was writing computer programming at that earlier in Fortran and other languages. If you just forget to put one full stop, it will blow up. So that was a lesson he taught us, but it came very handy. Another one which came handy is that even if most of the people go in one direction, and if you think going in the other direction is the right thing, go in the right direction. This I learned because I do not know at now. During our days, copying was very prevalent. We are supposed to be all bright students. Most of our my classmates were copying. And those who copy and get good marks were supposed to be good students. People like us who did not copy and did reasonably well are bookworms, and we were not popular. This really used to surprise me. What is this nonsense? But anyway, it gave the courage, because a couple of my friends I saw, they were called as saints because they were good also, but they never allowed anybody to copy, and they are almost treated like untouchables. So I was not untouchable, but I was close to that one. So I learned about what happens when you are an untouchable in a practical way over there. So that's another lesson I learned at IIT and practiced. So those are some of the things I still remember at IIT, and I really enjoyed. And the things that and one more thing I want to tell of the IIT is that when we were there, it was really, really fast. And because we were the first batch to come to the IIT, one night I was trying to enter the campus, and there were 2 or 3 gates, and I did not know whether I'm entering IIT or whether I'm going to another park or that. The one way I tried to figure out as I was touching the road to see if it is not asphalted, then it is IIT. And that is how I entered IIT. So you can imagine today how it is. So that is, I still remember that it happened almost like 51 years back. So, and if I am what today, it is all because of the fantastic education I got and the good professors I had and the friends, classmates I had, and with them, most of them I am keeping in touch. So I would like to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity. I don't know how many minutes I have taken, but here is my short journey from a rural village called Bantwal to IIT, to IIT Chicago, to Ponca City, to Houston, to Stanford, to London, to Milan, to Ireland, back to India, then to Georgia, Tbilisi, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and all these places. Thank you very much. I want to add my present activities. I am a governing council member of a very well-known consumer protection organization called Consumer Voice based in Delhi. I'm also serving as a trustee of a rural-based organization called Sahgal Foundation, which is working in 10 states, and it is headquartered in Gurugram, and it started working in the worst developed districts of India called No. And I have served as governing council member of Manipal Institute of Technology, and I started a consumer organization called Mysore Grahakara Parishat, which is a very credible and well-known organization of Mysore. And so these are some of my present affiliations. And also for some time I served as an advisory member of ONGC's exploratory group. So, but the thing that most interesting me now and my passion is to improve India's educational system. Here also, when the new education policy draft was published, I rushed to support it because I thought that it was one of the best things, and I was surprised. It was criticized so much, and but without any hesitation, I supported it, and when it came again, I supported it. And now, to support new education policy, along with a friend of mine, we have developed what is called as student mentoring program. And when Kasturi Rangan saw that one, he applauded and he asked us to share it with the new education policy people in Delhi. So that is one thing. And so through Pratham, I have been quite active here in trying to reach the poor slum people, children in Mysore as well as in villages. So, and I have developed what is called as True Education Program, which will ignite the critical thinking. And I have come and shared that at IIT Madras also. I wish that IIT will introduce this True Education because it will really help those while joining management program, because most of our school system is geared only with one objective, to pass the exams and do well. But they don't have that critical thinking capacity, and they hardly ask any questions. And this whole program of True Education is to overcome that. Thank you very much.